1847. A young outlaw stands before the gates of a city he has no right to enter. Behind him, an army no one gave him permission to build. Ahead of him, a kingdom that doesn't yet know his name. By the end of this story, every prince in Ethiopia will know it. But first, we have to go back to the boy they never saw coming. Before he was Emperor Tewodros II, he was Kassa Hailu, born into a family that actually held power, in a country where power meant nothing if you couldn't defend it. Ethiopia, in the early 1800s, was not the empire we know today. An emperor still sat on the throne, but the throne was a formality. Real power belonged to regional princes, each commanding their own armies, each convinced they alone deserved the crown. This era had a name, the Zemene Mesafint, the era of the princes. It should have produced a winner decades before Kassa was born. Instead, it produced only more war. And somewhere in that chaos, a family was about to lose everything, which is exactly what would set their son free to take it all. Kassa Hailu was born around 1818 in Kwara, a province his own father ruled as its hereditary chief. For a moment, it looked like Kassa's future was already decided. A comfortable inheritance, a noble title, a quiet life protected by his family's name. Then, at just 1 year old, Kassa lost his father. His mother moved him into the household of a relative, a warlord named Kenfu, where Kassa grew up trained in the ways of war, but always as a guest, never as an heir. For a while, that was enough. Then, in 1839, Kenfu died too, and within days, a rival empress seized Kwara for herself. The province that should have belonged to Kassa's family, gone. No land, no title, no protection, just a young man with nothing left to lose. And a young man with nothing left to lose is the most dangerous person in any kingdom. With Kwara gone, Kassa did something no nobleman was supposed to do. He became a shifta, an outlaw who refused to bow to the lords who had taken everything from him. It should have ended his story before it began. Outlaws in Ethiopia's highlands rarely lived long and rarely mattered. But Kassa didn't raid for plunder. He built something else, a reputation. Villagers began to whisper that this particular bandit protected the poor, punished corrupt officials, and shared what he took instead of hoarding it, while rival princes spent their strength crushing each other in endless, pointless battles. Kassa studied why they kept winning small fights and losing the larger war. He watched alliances collapse from greed. He watched brave soldiers die under arrogant commanders. Every battle became a lesson only he seemed to be learning. By the mid-1840s, his name had traveled farther than any outlaw's should, far enough to reach the ears of the most powerful lord in the region, Ras Ali. And Ras Ali was about to make a decision that he believed would neutralize Kassa forever. He had no idea he was about to make him unstoppable. In 1845, Ras Ali made his move. Rather than fight this rising outlaw, he offered him his daughter, Tewodros, in marriage, and with her, the official title of governor of Kwara. It looked like victory. Kassa, the landless outlaw, was being welcomed back into the nobility that had cast him out. But alliances built on convenience rarely hold. Kassa took the title. He took the marriage. And he used both as a foundation, not a finish line. Within a year, he broke from Ras Ali entirely, striking the city of Dembe and then occupying Gondar itself. The very man who thought he'd tamed the outlaw had just handed him a legitimate claim to power. Word spread across the highlands. This was a commander who marched beside his men instead of behind them, who rewarded courage over bloodline, who treated ordinary soldiers as though their loyalty actually mattered. One by one, warriors who had fought for indifferent princes their whole lives began asking themselves a dangerous question. What if there was finally someone worth truly following? By the early 1850s, Kassa commanded armies larger than most of the princes who once dismissed him. And he had begun to see Ethiopia differently than any of them ever had. They saw provinces to defend. He saw one country waiting to be built. It was a dangerous vision. Every prince who profited from division saw him as an existential threat, not a rival to negotiate with, but a fire to put out before it spread any further. Between 1852 and 1853, Kassa defeated army after army sent against him. Gojam, then a coalition of 4 regional forces, then Ras Ali's own troops, forcing his father-in-law into exile. Only one major rival remained, Dejazmach Wube of Semien, the last true power of the old order. On February 9, 1855, that battle finally came. And when the dust settled, the era of the princes, nearly a century of division, was over. 2 days later, the outlaw who once had nothing knelt to be crowned. He rose as Emperor Tewodros II, but a crown taken by force is never secured by force alone. And what Tewodros would do with his throne would prove far harder to hold on to than the throne itself. That's a story for next time. He had spent his whole life fighting to take the crown. He was about to learn that keeping it would be the harder war.